Morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Monday, August 4th, 2025. Thanks for being here. Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Today's Red Mic message: the upside down pyramid. When I was the executive director at a state agency, I would always tell people that I viewed our organization as an upside down pyramid. They're like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, it's all got to start with me, but it builds from there." And they were like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, you know, I set the tone, I set the expectations, I set the plan, I set the guidelines, and then I get out of the way. But I'm there holding the whole thing up. You know, they need me, they reach down. They need this, they ask me. And I am always reaching a hand up to let them know I'm here. So, upside down pyramid. I sort of thought of it as, real leadership not being top down, it's upside down. You don't sit at the top of the pyramid like a pharaoh. You got to hold the whole thing up. Your team's got to know your name. They've got to know that you're approachable. They've got to know that they can reach out to you if they need it. You can't expect them to follow you if they don't see you, if they don't know who you are, if they don't know what you stand for. Um, Eventually, they don't see you. They're going to go off on some direction that maybe you don't want. So don't be shocked if you don't make yourself available that they just stop looking. You got to be visible. You got to be real. You've got to lead like you're in the room, not that you're too cool for the room. Executive presence is not just for executives, it's for everybody. It's got to radiate down through them and not stop at them. I saw this really good graphic on LinkedIn. I'll post it later, particularly when I post the written version of this column or this live stream. I'll post it on LinkedIn. Um, it was called Executive Presence: 9 Secrets to Carry Yourself Like a CEO. I'm not going to read all the descriptions, just I'm going to talk about those in just a minute. Remember all the names, hone your body language, use this SHR method: see, hear, remember. Okay? Foster psychological safety, use humor and not mean humor. um, Remember the shadow rule: imperfection is humanizing. Own your flaws, be magnetic. Practice the 30% rule. Wait 2 seconds before you move on. Give people time to reply. Embrace tough conversations. The old saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Well, it's the same sort of idea. You've got to be willing to accept the fact that you don't know everything. So embrace those tough conversations and ask rapport building questions. Okay, now let's talk about these in sort of a reverse order. Um, Rapport building exercises. If you are a senior leader, you've got to ask front staff what they're excited about, what they're working on. Um, if your staff, particularly if you're in a large organization, if your staff doesn't even know your name, they've never met you in real life, there's no way to build rapport on that. If you are in this ivory tower looking down on your people, almost, like that in sync video a long time ago, that's not good. They've got to know you. Even if you don't 100% remember their name, you've got to at least be able to put a face with the name. Embrace tough conversations. A leader listens, they address pain points, they take questions. They're willing to think outside the box if their people come to them and say, "Hey, got this crazy idea, wanted to bounce it off of you. I wanted to see if we can make it better before I run with it." Instead of just, "No, that's not a good idea. We don't want to do that." um, if people come to you with ideas and your response is silence or avoidance or just complete dismissal, they're going to stop coming to you. You know, if you just expect them to do what you say, they're going to stop doing anything else. And that's on you. Practice the 30% rule. Listen more than speaking. Leave space for input. Um, Here's the warning sign. Uh, if they're unwilling to talk in a meeting, that's top down. You've slapped them down enough that they don't want to respond. Shadow rule. Leaders who admit mistakes or share personal growth become relatable. If you are an anonymous figure in a suit, that's confusion and mistrust. It's not confidence. Use humor, sometimes even self deprecating humor. Don't be afraid to be warm or funny or approachable. Um, it's going to humanize you, it's going to build morale. And if you don't interact in that way, people are going to think that, you're detached or that you are someone to be feared, and they're going to disengage. See here, remember, SHR method. This is the secret sauce. It's the thing that's going to make so much of this other stuff easier and more relatable and better. See, hear, remember. Again, if you don't do those three things, you're going to be invisible. You're not going to be able to be connected. They're not going to know you. They're not going to be willing to get down in the mud and the muck with you and fight for the same goals. Body language. Show up to the shared spaces. Stand confidently. Make eye contact. Have those chit chats over the coffee pot. Shake hands. Absent leaders don't connect. They don't communicate anything except their own indifference, their own star chamber, their own looking down at you instead of looking across the table at you. And then last but not least, remember their names. If you take time to know your staff, staff's going to mirror that. If you're in an organization, again, where people on the front lines don't even know your name, man, that's a dysfunctional organization. If staff don't know you, if the staff does not know the leadership, then the leadership doesn't know what's going on. Says everything about visibility and engagement. If you're in an organization where these 9 things aren't happening, I can tell you it's going to be very top down, very hierarchical. There's going to be a lot of reliance on division heads rather than, you know, someone getting in and getting their hands dirty. There's not going to be a whole lot of culture sharing. Low approachability, low visibility. It's going to lead to fear of mistakes, internal politics, uh, either an overabundance of personality or a complete lack of personality. Both ends are too bad or not good. And not just over delegation, but a do this kind of mentality. Because again, if you don't allow your people a little bit of leeway to go beyond the instructions, they never will. They're never going to grow. And then you're just going to get out of them what you ask them for. And what good is that? That's a high operational focus, but low cultural presence. So the bottom line is, if you want to build excellence, if you want to have people share the mission instead of just being part of it tangentially, if you want them to be accountable, your presence as a leader has to be lived, not just declared. It's not enough to expect executive presence from others. True leadership models it, especially those the furthest away from that leadership office. If you want name recognition from the bottom line, then dang it, you got to earn it. Upside down pyramid. Remember that. Try to lead that way. It's going to pay dividends in the long run. I promise you that. A little bit longer for a Monday. I haven't been I haven't hit the 10-minute mark in a while, so okay, happy Monday. I'm glad you're here. Again, it's August 4th. If you are a state employee, we are in the last month of the fiscal year, so woohoo! All right, new one just around the corner. New budgets. That's what it's all about. I love you guys. I appreciate you being here. I hope you will join me again tomorrow. Give me a like, a follow, and a share. No matter what platform you're on, I'd appreciate it a whole lot. I'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget, life is short. Drink the bourbon.